everybody! Welcome back to my channel, Colorful Worlds. In today's video, I'm doing my favorite video of the month, and then that is my coloring recap, where I showed you everything I have colored for the month of August. I have not done as much as I normally want to do for August, but that's also because it's a crazy time for me normally, because as a teacher, I'm returning to work. And I know, I'm very, very lucky. I have such wonderful summer holidays, and this one especially has been great because I was able to get so much coloring done, but boy, I am tired. Normally when you go back to work as a teacher, you kind of try to rearrange your personal life to empty out so that you have as much energy as possible when the school starts again this year. I wasn't really able to do that. My brother came to visit me just as school started, and I wasn't able to get any coloring done because my art room turns into the guest bedroom because we live in a small flat. And so I haven't colored since he was here, but he's gone now, and I miss him very much. But even so, he left a few days ago, and I still haven't been able to color because I also fell sick on the first day of school. I was wheezing and coughing. It was annoying when you're starting work again with whole new classes and you have all these new names to learn, and you're also sick, and you have guests, and you don't have access to your art space, and now you're just absolutely white. But I'm here. Sorry for the rant if it's a bit long. Let's flip the camera around and look at some of the different pages I have colored, and then talk about the pages I plan on coloring for this coming month as well. So I do have a few books I managed to get through earlier in the month. So if we kind of look into the coloring planner, it's also been just such a wonderful month for me for my YouTube channel, especially because I published a video that showed me going 25% of the way through Johanna Basford's Magical Worlds book. And the video did so well, and it just got me so many new subscribers. This is incredible. Normally I have, I think maybe 60 to 100 subscribers a month, give or take, and having it be almost 400 is crazy. And my Instagram normally gives me between 10 and 20, so up to 60 makes me feel so happy. So even though, I already started to explain that it's a very crazy month for me, it's also just been such a wonderful month too, looking back on for how my channel has kind of picked up, and some of the work I did over the summer seems to be paying off. I really, really hope I keep up with this momentum though this coming month, but we'll find out. We'll see. So if we look at the first page that I have done, this here is a Morgan O'Brien illustration done only for the coloring book planner, and it's a really cool one with such active dynamism of this frog just kind of jumping at you. Morgan O'Brien's illustrations are on the simple side, but he has a really good sense of dynamism in his drawings, something that I'm noticing. So I did this one wanting to explore a raindrop technique because it had some raindrops there. And so I just did a bit of a gradient background using my Ohuhu alcohol markers, and then used the the colorless blender to kind of push out some of the color with the raindrops, and then a white acrylic paint pen to add in some details, and a touch of coloring pencils to add in some shadows. And so that's just how I got some of these raindrops to look raindroppy. I wanted the backgrounds to not be too detailed either, so just have it be blurred and faded out, making it look like he was jumping through the grass. And so that's my grass at the bottom, and then my blue sky at the top. And because I knew it was green on green, I decided to go for a warmer toned green on the frog, and a cooler toned green for the grass. So this is a bit more earthy with the frog and a bit more vibrant with the grass, because I thought it looked a bit better as well, to try to get some differences in the green. I normally have a bit of a hard time with greens because I find that they clash really easily compared to many other color families, but this one I think worked out. And yeah, so there's my cute little mouse, his cute little frog, and his cute little, is that a worm friend or is that his tail? I think that's a worm friend over there, and a little ant friend. Yes, it must be a worm friend there. And that's the first one I have to show you from the coloring planner. So the next one I want to show you is from Life of Witches by Uusikuuu. I'm in a group where we try to do a page of this a month, and I was behind by 2 different months. So since multiple people were still trying to catch up on some of the previous ones, for August, we did not set a prompt and instead we used it as time to catch up if we needed to. And so I was able to catch up with the 2 different pages I missed from the group buddy. So the first one is this one here, which is called At the Bus Stop. And so this one I really had a lot of fun working on and doing, especially because it was a bit quick to do. And I really like these single-sided illustrations because when I'm using my Ohuhu markers, it really does make it a much faster way of coloring, and I like that. For this one too, I tried really hard to make the umbrellas look like a clear plastic umbrella, because I thought that with the color layout I had, adding in more color would have been a bit too much, because either it blends too much into the background or it becomes the center of focus. For instance, if I had a red or a pink umbrella, which was my options, you would have your eyes would have gone straight there, and then it would have taken attention away from my girls. So I wanted it to be this clear umbrella. And I achieved it by using my white paint pen to white out the details, and then a white color pencil. You want to go for like the softest color pencil you have to just fill it in a tiny bit as well. And sorry, before that, you have the color of the background in there. So I actually had my blue marker come up to here, and I added in some green marker coming down from there. And then on top of that, did the color pencil to make it a nice clear umbrella. Kira over on A Picture with Purpose did do this page, and I loosely followed some of the things that she did. For instance, learning how to make these raindrop effects, learning how to do some just different gravel and stones on the ground, and also get some of these raindrops effects. So if you want, you can check out her channel and see what she did there for how she got those different effects there. But otherwise, I just went on my own with their skin tones, with their dresses, with the little glitter on their hats. For that, I used a jelly roll on top of the marker, and it's just like a nice way it ended up being of having some extra glitter without adding color. It was like it was one of the metallic jelly roll pens that worked for that. And lastly, I decided to leave this rabbit creature white because I didn't know what color to do. And so I just figured, yeah, just leave that buddy there white. So that's the first of the 2 for my catch-ups. Next, what I ended up doing is the lily pad pond. And this was, I think, like June or July that I had missed with the group buddy. For this one, I really wanted to make sure that, and it's again all Ohuhu markers, I really wanted to make sure that they look like they're underwater. And so after coloring in their skin tone, I actually went on top of it with a light teal marker. So that way it has like a wash of that blue over their bodies so that they look like they're underwater. And here it looks like they're above water. I also wanted to make sure it had more of like a ultramarine sky blue here, and I drew in a couple of clouds as well. So again, a bit of a limited color palette, which I like doing. Some glitter here and there to make it, I guess, shiny. Some white paint pen details so that their hair looks like it's reflecting the sunlight a bit. And I think I finally figured out their eyes. If you remember, I've been complaining about their eyes in this book because they're like blank stares, like the demons from hell. Like there's no pupils. And so the way I've just been kind of doing it is to use a black micron to add in black, and then a tiny bit of white as a dot to give it some shinies, and just leave it like that. Like the more I mess with it, the weirder it gets. So I try to keep it like as simple as possible so that at least they have pupils and some eye shinies, and the rest is fine. But yeah, so that's the other one that I have done, which are the 2 from Life of Witches. Alright, and so the next one that I did is from Johanna's Christmas. And I wasn't expecting to pull this book out, especially in August, but we have Jordy Colors in her challenge of Color the Fairy Tales had a prompt that was clock. And so this was one of the 2 grandfather clocks that I had in my collection, so I went ahead and decided to do this one here. So I think out of the different pages I've done in Johanna's Christmas, this is probably my favorite so far. I think I'm starting to get a hang of her older art style, because Johanna has in her older books a bit more of a doodly style, and yet this one still just has so much white space around it that I'm intimidated by the white space. But I think I sort of figured out what I wanted to do with it, and it worked out well. So another alcohol marker base, and I stuck with two kinds of browns here, so that you can have your brown detailing versus your brown paneling, and then still my Christmas colors with my reds and my blues and my golds. And so I was trying to keep it like a bit more limited, a bit gentler, so that it works out well with a lot of like gel pen details and paint, watercolor paint details too. If you remember last time I colored in this book with one of my videos, I had complained about this page because I don't really like how I used green in the background, like it was just too much green. And someone in the comments said that I should use a different color instead. And so for this one, I decided, all right, there's a lot of green on the page already. What if I just add a smidge of blue? So I just used my off-brand distressed inks, and I just did a smidge of blue coming out from areas around the clock, making sure it's not consistent and not on all areas. For instance, there's no blue there and no blue there. It just has a bit of, it adds just a bit of dynamism to an otherwise blank background. The one thing I'm sad about is the smudge I have here, and I cannot fix it for the life of me because like it's an alcohol marker and you smudged on top of it. Like the layers of alcohol markers don't layer on top of a smudge like that because they're so transparent. So that kind of ruins the overall effect a tiny bit, because otherwise like it would have been such a pretty clock, but now there's a smudge on my pretty clock. Do you see? Pretty clock, smudged pretty clock. Pretty clock, smudged pretty clock. But it's okay. Yeah, it's fine. It's still my favorite page that I've done in this book so far. I love the shinies. I love the limited palette. I'm glad that I finally figured out like my background wispiness with the wispy colors that I put out. So yeah, that's the one that I have done in Johanna's Christmas. But I lied. It's actually not the last one I've done in Johanna's Christmas. You can see how tired I am that I can't remember all the pages I've done for this month. So I also follow Finding Joy in Colors, The Wild Year of Color, and the prompt for this month was owl. And so I did this Christmas owl, and it's probably familiar to you because I followed the tutorial of Karen over on My Colorful Country Life. For the most part, I changed out some of the colors in the background, and I changed out, again, my blue wispy in the background, but the sweater and all of this stuff is from that tutorial. And it's shiny, has lots of shines to it. I added some stiggles to the eyes to give it some eye shinies, and there's that gold paint, of course, which, you know, over here, I love that accent of gold on top of the gold coloring. And yeah, so it was just nice, I think, to, in a month that I was starting to feel busy, because even before I got slammed, I was busy, to just have a color along to follow. And so even though it wasn't my own work, I'm just glad that I did it. And it's also the first time that I've used pencils in this book. I'm always so tempted by the single-sided coloring books to just use alcohol markers, and there really is such a difference in shading and gradients and details that you can get with pencils that you really can't get with using only alcohol markers. So it took a while as well, like my hand was tired by the end of it, and it was painstaking with all of the small details. And you know, you have a gradient there, you have a gradient there, you have a gradient there, you have a gradient, two gradients here. Like there's just a lot of blending. But that's, I guess, what Johanna books call for, especially her older ones with all of the different pencil details that she puts in. So yeah, so that's the fifth one that I have done for this month. Alright, so the next comes from Eriy's Romantic Country, The Second Tale. I'm doing this as a front to back with another group of colorists. And so we've finished some of the earlier map pages. And so coming towards the end of the map page, I finished this one here. So I went over it using the same techniques as I did in these two previous pages, which you can see in one of my coloring videos where I learned how to color grass. So I just kind of stuck with that, in part for consistency, in part because if I just learned how to do something, I want to stick with it. And so that's what I did here. And I'm really, really glad I did. For a page that has so many different elements. You know, you have your waters, you have your mushrooms, you have these rivers coming in through all of this grass and all of these small details. Having some consistency, I think, helps just bring it together really well. So base layer was mostly with watercolor paints, and then on top of that I used my pencils, which were a mix of polychromos, actually some polychromos, some Prismacolor, and some Albert's Dürer, so just kind of like the whole load. I had some paint pens as well, so all of these wildflowers, I didn't even bother with pencils, I just went straight in with acrylic paint pens, and then I even have some like glittery paints here so it can catch the light to make my mermaid castle very mermaidy and shiny. So I'm happy about that there. So yeah, overall a fun page to do that wasn't as crazy as I thought it might be. And I had started this and now I have another whip on my whip plates, but I decided not to finish it last month because it's so perfectly Halloweeny. I wanted to save this for October. You have your witch flying against the moon, and I mean, it is the forest of the witch. So I have it based with my watercolors already, and I've actually used a fine liner to outline some of these trees. And then I'm stopping for now and I'll come back to it in October. I think my plan was for September, so this month, to do this double page spread first. And I wanted to use, should I tell you my plan? Sure, I'll go with my plan. I want to create a Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. I think it'll be really, really cool if I can do that using paint pens, but I don't have any brush tip paint markers, and I think that's what you'd really need to make the effect go well, because I don't really see any other of my materials having that like dabby look that brushes can do, and I want it to be acrylic paints, but I don't want to paint with my actual acrylic paints, and acrylic marker is just so much cleaner than acrylic paints. But it just depends on if I decide to spend the money to buy them or not. But yeah, that's kind of like the idea that I have for this page to kind of fit into the Space-Tember theme, is to throw in a huge spacey starry night for September and then come back to this page in October, and then November do these two, so that December I can do this one. Do you see my plan, guys? It's perfect. And then January do these two, but February this looks like a date page, so then I'd get this done by February. And if I finish this page and all the previous ones, I'm 25% of the way through this book. I know it doesn't look like much, but I have actually completed pages before I started to do this fronts to back. So like yeah, I actually have quite a few pages already done in this book. But yeah, so that's kind of like my plan. I wasn't planning on moving into my plans yet in this part of the video, but I'm embracing the chaos of this video. Please don't unsubscribe. But yeah, so that's the page I've done. Those are my plans for the future. I hope you like it. Enjoy. That's it. Romantic Country, The Second's Tale. Alright, and then this month I finally managed to come back to Worlds Within Worlds. I've been behind my game plan on this book. As some of you know, I really want to finish it, or at least hit my 75% mark, but I've been so far behind. I'm right now behind by 9 different pages. Like, I'm 9 different pages behind where I should be and my goal to finish this by this year. And that's just because, actually 10 pages. Yeah, I'm 10 pages behind on my goal to finish this for this year. I did no pages in July, only 2 in June, only 2 in May, and yeah, I guess I did 4 in April. But only 2 in August. But at least I got 2 done in August because I hadn't done any in July. So part of, I think, my block is that I'm coming so close to the end, and it's always the case when you come close to the end that you start to lose steam. Like, we see that with students all the time, you see that with athletes all the time. And also, if you push yourself beyond the limit, you kind of lose the spark for something. And I think I started to lose my spark for this book a tiny bit by pushing too much to try to get to an end goal as a goal that I had set for myself. So I only did 2 pages. I did not do the pages on my game plan list. Like, I did not do the terrariums or the lantern or the sloth, the terrariums I had done earlier. But I did do this page, which I'm happy about, and doesn't follow any theme whatsoever, or any challenge whatsoever. but it's just a page I wanted to color for a while, and I did it. So it looks more complicated than it is, and I think that's the beauty of using mixed media, is you can just have so much done and have it look so unique with less effort than if you're just doing it with pencil. So I used my fake distress inks in the background, or off-brand. I guess they're Inkpads, but it's just, everyone calls them distressed inks, even if they're not that company. But yeah, so that's what I just used here, using a mix of 2 different reds and 2 blacks. I know it's funny that I'm using 2 blacks because isn't black black, but one of my blacks was like dried out, so it was more a nice faded gray, and the other was more full to make it a bit more of a darker black. And on top of that, I splattered some gold watercolor paint. And then I wanted it to be kind of matching to this page here. So here I have it be a bit more cooler toned and silver, and so I decided I wanted it to kind of be a gold one to match that a bit. So I just made up a color combo for gold. I used some gold paint on the areas within it. I wasn't sure what to do here or here, so I did the unthinkable and I didn't even color it in. And it's perfect, guys, just having this white strip. I'm really glad I did not color it in. I just added in the little red dots for the gems. And I also used a tiny bit of stickles on top of just the gems at the bottom to give them a little extra oomph. Like, look at that. It has a little extra oomph to it. It's so shiny. And I added in then some stickles on this side to match the oomph. So yeah, so that's one page that I did, just mindless coloring, something I needed to do that wasn't like I must color this because I made a plan to color this, but was instead something I just wanted to color and went for it. And then the same thing happened for this page. So I got 2 pages done this month, so happy about that. And same thing where this one went really, really fast. For both of these pages, you can actually see my process as a time-lapse reel, both on Instagram and YouTube, so you can check that out. But for this one, I did not want to use any pencils to color on it. I was just sick of pencil at that point. So the background is actually a base of Tooli-Art paint pen. And yeah, the scratchy like nib paint pen. I did that all down as a base. And then I used my little stencils and some distressed inks here to kind of like add in some like shadowiness to it, and then had my Albert's Dürer watercolor pencils, which are the only pencils I used, to make little circles that I just like wetted out as well. And so it was just like a nice way of creating a bit more of like a textured background that looks way more complex than it actually was. So it has so much depth and dimension, but that's because I kept playing with it, not because I intentionally tried to create depth and dimension. I just kept messing around. And then this is all done with my Ohuhu water-based markers. And then I have some stickles on top so that my butterflies are nice and shiny. And I have some gold gel pen on top so that my building is nice and gold. I decided to make this just all one color and all only gold. So a base of yellow with a gold gel pen on top, so that way it still has some like dimension and shading, and of course some like white paint pen detailing here and there too. And yeah, so just really happy with it. A fast one to do. I love my limited color palettes because I think they work really well together. And I think these 2 pages also work pretty well together because you have your crossovers of your pinks and greens and blues. They work well together too. So different styles, right? Like this one, I had added in the entire background, which I'm so happy I did that. Like, I need to give myself more credit for drawing, but I drew that background in, guys. And then made this crazy background here too. I think I was channeling my inner Erica, who's been doing a lot of like mixed media cool work in her watercolor books recently. And I'm super happy, got 2 done in Worlds Within Worlds. And then finally, I have gotten 1 done in Magical Worlds. So this is another project book that I want to finish, but I'm turning them all into full book color alongs. And I wanted to have this video published by last Sunday, but I'm still editing it because of all of the above mentioned constraints on my time. But I started a Space Timber page, and I did this one. And yeah, I love it. I'm super happy with it. A watercolor base, including some gold watercolor paints, some gel pens, and then a host of Prismacolor pencils on top. Like, I just wanted it to be fun and vibrant, and I wanted it to look like wrapping paper, actually. It's giving me like kids wrapping paper vibes with just like the stars being redrawn in with that very solid white background. Solid white lines around it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these same colors and pull them over here so that both pages match and end up being a double page spread. But yeah, so happy I did this page. I think it's fun. It was not what I expected. I wanted it to be a bit more subtle and blended, but I messed up on the blending, and that's fine. And I think that's part of the lesson too with coloring, especially if you delve into mixed media. People are scared because it doesn't end up looking like you want it to look. But the trick is it's going to look like something, and you just have to follow along and let it lead, and then accept what's there. And that's like the life lesson I had with this page, but really happy about it. All right, so to end this video, I do want to talk about some of my coloring plans for the month of September. And again, because I'm just a bit constrained on time, and because I'm a bit constrained on energy, I think what I'm going to do is abandon some of my monthly projects that I've been sticking with so much. So, for instance, the Wild Year of Color has a prompt of a wolf. I think I'm going to have to, for the first time, do that in a different month. I don't think I can do that this month. Jordy's Coloring the Fairy Tales has some space timber elements, so that should still work. But I'm not going to do Life of Witches, and I don't even feel like doing the planner for this month. In all fairness, I just feel like working on my project books, so I can just get a head start on them. So if I were to concentrate on my space timber pages for my project books, one of them is a buddy color for this. And I don't know if you play any board games amongst you, but there's a board game named Arcs, and it's like space themed, and they have just a really, really beautiful board. And so I just wanted to have it look like that, and I think I'll have the background look like that just using my distressed inks, and just have like a big distressed ink background, and it should go very, very quickly if I do that. And then if I base all the elements and don't worry so much about all the nitty-gritty details, I think it could actually be a really, really fast and colorful and fun page to do. And the board game it's like black, but then around the planets is different colors. So it's slightly similar, I guess, to Karen's from My Colorful Country Life, except instead of having color blobs randomly, I'm just going to have it be black with color around the elements. And so it's a bit more contained is kind of my plan and my idea. Next up are the bubbles, because I have a different friend group who's doing another buddy color. So this will be my second buddy color in this book and 4 pages in, and it also is space timber because of this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, except I'm excited to try the bubble effect by having like, you know, multicolored, colorful bubbles. And maybe I'll just do a black background and keep my life a bit simple, but that's what I have as my second set. I have as options to do this. It was supposed to be a buddy color last month, but I couldn't finish it. So I could just finish it for this month instead. And I was thinking of following the tutorial of Sarah Renee Clark, except I don't want this to be sepia. I'm just going to make this reflective of what the elements are outside and not worry about these details. So it's just kind of like hidden away, I think. I could potentially finish this whip. I have a hard time with whips. This is why I don't like whips. It's because when you lose momentum and you don't know what you did earlier and you can't color match, it's hard to get back into it. So I'm just going to have to try to get back into it. But if I do this one, then I should probably do its sister page, this one, at some points too. But then I'm having up to 4, 5, 6, 7 pages picked for this book. And that is probably too many. But those are the 7 that I have as options to work on. If I'm just going to pick one book or pick 2 books, this will be the one of the 2 books to work on. It might simplify my life to just do a 1 book focus for a month. Or, sorry, to do a 2 book focus for the month. Can't forget about Magical Worlds. Magical Worlds, you're back. All right, so easy. I know exactly what colors I want here. Be super fast just to get this one here done. And then, of course, you have the house mandala as well. And so that's another space-themed one. This one's more complicated for me because I just have no idea what to do with all of this black. oh sorry, this background, maybe I should black it out, saying the word black, just make that another colorful one. I do know exactly the colors I want for that, and I'm going to be using my watercolor pencils, my Albert Dürers for that. I just have no idea what to do here. So if you want to give me ideas for what I can do here, let me know. Should I just leave it blank and only have that colored? Should I black it out? Should I try to draw something? If you have any ideas, let me know. But honestly, those are the only 2 pages I'm thinking of working on for this next month. Yeah, I mean, potentially this one. Actually, no, there is one more page. I have a buddy color with, I'm not sure if it's that page. It's one of the flower houses. Here, I do have a buddy color for this. So I guess this would be one to do as well. So those are the only, I guess, 2 to 3 pages I consider doing in this book, so that I have a few tackled out from here, but I'm just catching up on this book here instead. Yeah, that's what I have planned. All right, it's been half an hour. Thank you everyone so much for listening to me ramble in this video. I'm sorry if it's a bit more all over the place than what I normally try to do, but you know, it's okay. It is 9:30 p.m. I'm still in my work clothes. I'm gonna go shower, just watch some TV, decompress, and start coloring. So excited to come back into it. I hope you all have a wonderful September, everyone, and I will see you all soon. Bye!